Hello, welcome to Pendulum Friday here at Soulprint. Thank you very, very much for being here. Um, so this has been an exciting week, eh? The of course, as you know, I'm recording this on Thursday afternoon, so very much looking forward to the final evening of the Democratic Convention. It has been amazing so far. The energy is so powerful. It is just you can almost see it. There's a lot of very positive energy, a lot of hope, a lot of joy, and that is amazing because that's the kind of energy that we need to surround ourselves with in order to continue to move forward and do the things that need to be done to make what we want to happen happen. Um, Tim Walz's speech last night was amazing. I think his son Gus is sort of the new poster child for amazing son-father relationships. The connection between those two is amazing. Um, it was just a lot, and it's been amazing. I think probably better than anybody expected. And I suspect on some level it is making Trump absolutely nuts. And that also has its benefits. I just want to, well, two things. First, three things. First, thank you very much for being here. To new subscribers, welcome to Soulprint. I hope you really enjoy our community. For all of the comments and the thumbs up and the views and likes and all of it, thank you. It just keeps that my channel growing, and it grows slowly. And that's okay because I sometimes think it flies under the radar of some of the other problems that bigger channels seem to attract. And so I'm okay with that. Um, Secondly, on Monday, there will be releasing a video called A Time to Heal. It is a channeled message. It is a very simple and profound message. I hope that you are able to take a peek at it. That will be coming out on Monday. And I forgot the third thing, of course, because I have a brain like a bloody sieve. Mm, I'm sure it'll come to me. All right. Let's get started here with questions and some really, really good questions this this week. And we need to thank the amazing Joyce for making that all come together. All right, so for anybody who's new here, when the pendulum goes side to side like that, it means that it's ready to talk and I am protected. Pendulum, show me yes, and it will go back and forth, and show me no, and it'll go around and around in a circle. You will notice that the pendulum responds very, very quickly. I think part of it, honestly, is just because it's on such a short chain that it takes less energy to sort of basically get the thing moving. Um, and I've been using it for a really long time. And so there's just a good rapport. Here we go. Will the US have a monkeypox epidemic? You know. Will Biden fix the Social Security breach? So I don't know how many of you have heard about this, but apparently there was a really significant breach. Um, and people who should not have your social insurance number, which accesses all kind of other information, has it. So, it's not really Biden that's going to fix it, right? So I'm just going to rephrase it a little bit. Will the appropriate departments and divisions of the United States government under Biden fix the breach that happened with regards to social security numbers? Are they going to be able to fix that? Okay, I'm hearing that the fix is already underway. This is not they didn't horse around about it. Let me just put it that way. They put a lot of energy into it and a lot of energy fast. I think I've answered this one before, but we will do it again. Will, quote, Black people receive a stimulus or reparations and a sincere apology for the last 400 plus years of crimes against humanity and systemic discrimination before Biden leaves his post? No. And I think that that was the answer you got before. Um, and then you tacked on, or will this happen in Harris's term? I'm going to rephrase that. Is it more likely to happen under the presidency of Kamala Harris? Yes. Um, I think, though, I'm told that there needs to be an attempt to sort of manage, if you will, expectations. Um, it's not that it's not deserved. It's not that you shouldn't have it. But I think that if you expect too much from what is basically a government agency, you can kind of end up a little disappointed. So it's always better to hope for less and get more than hope for more and then be disappointed when you get less. Will we ever know how many women have been harmed and or have died in the United States due to not receiving the medical care they needed from a miscarriage? Are we ever going to know the numbers? No. No. And I mean, part of that is just patient confidentiality. Part of that is certainly certain state governments are going to bend themselves into pretzels to make sure that information doesn't get out. So no, I mean, I think that there will be ideas, there will be estimates, but actual numbers, no. Is Merrick Garland more likely to step down as Attorney General now that Kamala Harris has been nominated? Hmm. Okay, no. Is Merrick Garland going to continue to be the Attorney General under Kamala Harris administration? No. So what's going to happen is he will, sort of tender his resignation. I don't know, effective January 21st or however that works, so that she will be able to put um, sort of her choice in. And, in a way, it's very, very sad that that ended up happening because it was my understanding that the role of attorney general was sort of like a 10-year kind of contract, um, because that way, because the Department of Justice is supposed to be so well removed from the White House, that way no president would have, sort of undue influence on what was decided by the department. But when Trump was so anxious to get rid of Comey, and then he went through God only knows how many attorney generals. It sort of now reverted back to this kind of every president gets to stick their own in. And personally, I think that that is a little bit troublesome because unless there are literal laws that prevent a president from interfering with the Department of Justice, um, you know, there could be a repeat of that kind of behavior that was experienced not only by Trump but by Nixon. So it's more like, so we know that. So he is likely to step down so that she can put her choice in. Will Kamala replace Merrick Garland with Sally Yates? So for those of you who might be new, when the pendulum just sort of does that, what it's doing, it doesn't really answer. It means that there isn't enough information or the information hasn't been determined yet. I suspect that there are tentative lists being drawn up of potential, um, attorney generals. In fact, secretary of this and secretary of that too, I'm sure, by the Harris campaign. But as of right now, energetically, it does not feel like there has been a definite or clear decision. Will there be a change in long wait lists for low income housing after Harris becomes president? Okay, yes. This is another one of those manage your expectations. Um, what are they saying they're going to do? Build 3 million residences? That doesn't happen in a couple months. Okay. So the wait list, I think, are going to stay as they are. And then you know, as they're able to move things forward, then those wait lists are going to, shrink and they're going to drop. But, um, you know, and I think this is true of any country. When we vote in a government, we just simply expect that the things that they told us they would do, they just get done. And we often forget that there are competing forces, particularly in the States, for example, um, um, if the House and the Senate don't both belong to the White House. In Canada, you may have a prime minister, but if he doesn't have majority um, rule, then he's basically in partnership with another party. And, there can be back and forth that go on there. So, you know, yes, things are going to change, and yes, they're absolutely going to change for the better. But, you know, let's wait and hope that things are able to move along very, very quickly. Certainly, I think this is going to be one of her priorities. But um, during the Harris Waltz administration, will the working of the IRS be more efficient? Yes. And among other things, is that going to include hiring additional personnel so there are sufficient numbers of personnel? Yes. And the other question that's not here, but that it triggered it in my head when I asked this one, is this one. Under the new administration, is the Secret Service the agencies that fall under the umbrella of, protection? I don't know if that's Homeland Security. I'm not sure who it is. But are those agencies going to see an increase in personnel so that they also are able to act more efficiently? Yes. And for any of you wondering, I do believe that the Biden administration tried to get something through, and the Republicans, of course, stop that. Okay, will the Dems retain the Senate and House in the midterms of 2026? Okay, so what you're getting right now is a small yes. It's too early to actually get a clear reading on that. And honestly, it's going to depend on how well received um, President Harris is once she gets in there and starts moving things around, because there is always, always that energy of, um, well, we voted you in, move mountains. And they just don't move that fast. And then people get cranky and they get upset. And depending on who or what you've got going on with the Republicans by then, I think that's going to impact. But certainly, are they going to work really, really hard to make sure they hold on to it? Yes. Is Adam Kinzinger planning to change parties and run against Ted Cruz as a Democrat in 2030? No. Um, is he likely to challenge Ted Cruz um, for the Republican run, for the Republican seat? Yes. Yes. Let's not any of us make the mistake of thinking that people who were Republicans who worked, for example, with the J6 committee, they're not Republican light, okay? They're not center. They had very, very strong Republican leaning beliefs and ideas. I mean, look at how many times they voted with Trump. It's in the high 90s, right? These are not people who are just going to embrace the Democratic Party and their platform. What you have going on now is a lot of people who are not voting for the Democrats, they're voting for democracy. And that's a very, very different thing 2 years, 4 years, 6 years from now, right? So keep that in mind. Will the US government assist Trump in escaping to another country? No. Of course, US government is kind of a big, broad area or title, but as of right now, no. Is Judge Merchan likely to postpone sentencing Trump until after the election? As of right now, it seems like a little bit of a yes. Um, it doesn't feel set in stone, right? We've got time. Trump prevented the border deal by telling Republicans not to support it. Would he is he also likely to strong arm Netanyahu into not supporting a ceasefire in order to harm the current administration? Yes, yes. And apparently, some there's been some sort of chatter about this. And of course, he is saying, of course, I didn't do that. But, if his mouth is opened, he's lying. Just so, we're all clear on that. And don't forget, the other way to find out when you're watching him to see if he's lying, as soon as he starts doing this, he's lying. Um, when he's just sort of talking about um I don't know, things he feels or things he thinks. He doesn't do that. But as soon as he starts making up stories and embellishing, out come the accordion hands. Okay. So when you're watching him or you're listening to him, and God love you if you actually have the stamina to do that, um, recognize that that's exactly what you're seeing. It is a huge, huge tell. And it's just fascinating to me that there isn't more made about it, right? That literally, media moderators aren't going, yeah, well, look at those accordion hands. Don't know if we can trust what he just said there. Kind of strange. Anyways, just my opinion. Will Trump show up for the debate on September 10th with Harris? Okay, as of right now, it is a small yes. Let's ask follow-up question. Will um, will there be an attempt to come up with an excuse or reason to not be able to do that debate? Are they working on a tentative plan? Yes. Will Trump attend the inauguration? No. Um, Will any of the information about Jeffrey Epstein and him and Trump come out before the election? If I'm not mistaken, some of that information has already come out. Um, so maybe let's ask the question this way. Will it come out? And if so, will it garner a lot of attention? Okay, so I'm getting a yes. Now, somebody somewhere along the way wanted to know about Katie Johnson. So Katie Johnson is the new name for a Jane Doe. This person claims that she was with Epstein and Trump when she was 13 years old, and that, she was forced to perform sexual acts, etc., for their viewing and or personal pleasure, I guess. This is the problem, though, is these like the last time this came out, it came out and then she vanished. And I don't think it was something terrible. I think she just pulled back. They have never been able to get a consistent story out of her that sort of lines up. And so therein lies the problem. Um, and certainly I am not suggesting one way or the other whether it's true or not. I have no reason not to believe her. But if you can't, if the law can't get a consistent story, one that they can rely on and that is, provable, it would make it very, very hard to go after somebody, especially somebody like a Trump, even though he has this incredible history that certainly suggests it's possible. Um, there's still a lot of kid glove treatment going on with regards to Trump. Will Putin provide any incriminating evidence against Trump before the election? No, because there's still going to be an attempt to get Trump to win the election, even though we all know that's not going to happen. So Putin wouldn't do that. I mean, it just doesn't even make logical sense. I think if Putin had negative information about Harris, he would dump it, but he doesn't. And have you heard, freaking that House Oversight Committee with that, what's his name, Comer, whatever his name is. Okay, so they spent all of this time. They're trying to impeach Biden. And then they released the report, and basically what it said was, we couldn't find any wrongdoing, but we just think his family's like dirty, and they traded business deals on their name. Hello, have you met the Trumps? So either way, we think we should impeach him. I mean, this is what you're dealing with here. So the same YooHoo has decided that since somewhere in the late 80s, I think it was, Kim Walz was in China for 2 or 3 weeks on some sort of a teaching exchange or something, that he must have communist Chinese ties. And so now they want to investigate him. I mean, how is it that the American people tolerate that kind of abuse of power, the waste of money, frankly, and the sheer flippin' stupidity of some of these people? I swear I don't know. I'm surprised somebody just hasn't slapped him up the side of the head and told him to get a grip. Not, of course, that I'm promoting violence in any way, shape, or form. Will the U.S. have a civil war when Trump loses? No. No, no, no. You know what? This is the thing. In order to have a civil war, you would have to have a lot of people who really, really, really believe in him. Now, I don't know that those are going to be the people who are in jail. I don't think that's going to be the people who are walking out of his rallies early because he won't shut the hell up. There isn't the energy for it. Yeah. Could there be a couple of little skirmishes here and there? Probably. But a civil war, not a chance. This is an interesting one. With all the positive energy of love in this election, will it impact orphanages? Will more people adopt children? Is the power of love going to extend to organizations like orphanages? Okay, so what you're seeing here is a really small yes. I'm being told that part of it is that um, has something to do with income, almost like um, there are some people, because of sort of some of the ups and downs that um, your country, along with a whole bunch of other ones, have experienced lately as a result of COVID, et cetera. I think that it has made some people a little bit skittish um, about starting a family or adding to their family. And I have to tell you, I think that that is um, not only natural children, but adopted children. I think people have just said, wait a minute, we need to take a break and step back. Is Putin ill? Okay, I'm getting a yes. With cancer. It's like a really little no. So it makes me wonder if it was treated. And as of right now, there hasn't been a reimmersion or Parkinson's. And that's a no. If Putin were to die, would the Kremlin withhold that information? No. Are there any power struggles between Pelosi and Harris? Okay, go small yes. Again. So this is what I'm hearing. Harris is not going to quickly forget that Nancy Pelosi was not keen on her um, running for the presidency. She wanted this open convention deal thing. Pelosi has um, gone into the light and is supporting Harris in this endeavor. The problems between the two of them almost feel like generational, right? Like Nancy Pelosi wants things to be done the way they've always been done because that's what she's comfortable and familiar with. And Kamala Harris is like, they don't work. Can you not see by running the campaign the way I am, we have Trump on the run, as opposed to us always being in a defensive posture. So it's a generational thing. It is sort of some basic differences in philosophy and how campaigns should be run. Um, but this is a more important question, I gotta say. Um, so I guess it's like a foregone conclusion that Pelosi will be voted back into her position within the House. I'm not mistaken. He is still up for re-election. Is Nancy Pelosi going to finish her 2-year term if she is elected in this upcoming election 2024? Okay, yes. Is she going to retire after that? Yes. And again, whether we love them or not, um, some of the elders of both parties really do just simply need to make room for the younger, more vibrant, more dynamic energies. Okay, I just got to say something. I turned 65 in March, and I am delighted that Kamala Harris at 59, and I don't know how old Tim Walz is, but he's in that area somewhere. I'm just delighted that that's considered like the youngins. I have to tell you, I haven't felt this perky in a while. Um, with abortion rights being on the ballot in 8 states, will the energy of the Harris Waltz ticket spur these Democratic U.S. Senate candidates to victory? All right, there's a list of 4 or 5 of them. Let's go. Debbie Mucarsel Howell. She's running against Rick Scott. Is a Democrat going to take that seat? Oh my God, that's like a yes. Um, also Brooks in Maryland. I don't know who she's running against. Is she going to win? So yes. Jackie Rosen in Nevada appears to be undetermined. Um, Gallego, and I know I've said that wrong. Um, in Arizona. Okay, it's a yes. It's a small yes, but we'll take it. And Coons, who's running against Holly in Missouri. How's he looking? It's not decided right now. If I'm not mistaken, Holly has a very big lead on him. I don't necessarily think that that's going to help him. I think that that race is far tighter than it looks or appears to be. And Tesler in Montana, now he is a Democrat. So the question there is he going to be able to hold his seat? And that's a pretty darn strong yes. I like John Tesler. I think he's just like salt of the earth kind of guy. Will the Supreme Court have to get involved in deciding this upcoming presidential election? No. I'm a little wonky there, but no. The Georgia State Election Board passed a new rule on Monday, allowing local election officials more power to investigate votes after Election Day. Will they succeed in slowing the count of Georgia voting? Okay, this is a yes, but the follow up question has to be, will they get away with it? No. That's what you hang on to. Don't worry about the yes. Worry about the fact that when it comes right down to it, they're not going to get away with it. My goodness, there's a lot of questions here. Will Mike Johnson be relieved of duties of Speaker of the House before Inauguration Day 2025? That's a yes. Does the House not, and even the Senate, does Congress not get um what's the word? Put into office, right, where they take their oath. Does that not happen prior to the actual inauguration day? I'm not sure, but anyways, this is a yes. Will any more Republicans resign their Senate seat before the election? We've got a yes there. More than one. And that's a no. Does President Zelensky have positive feelings about VP Harris, possibly being the next president of the United States? Is Zelensky pleased with the idea of Kamala Harris becoming the next president? Yes. Back in 1980, Reagan won 43 states for 489 electors, and in 84, he won 49 525 elector states. Is it possible that that Harris Waltz could do the same? Is it possible? Okay, no. Those are just extraordinary numbers. Let's ask the question this way. Is the Harris Waltz ticket going to win the election by a comfortable margin of electors? Yes. Uh, will Democrats win the House in November? Yes. Will they retain it in the midterms of 2026? And no answer. A little early for that question. Will the U.S. be involved in any new overseas conflicts in the year 2025? That's a no. All righty. Good gracious. Thank you for all of your questions. Thank you for joining in to this week's edition of Pendulum Friday. This is a long video. I encourage you to check out the other videos that get released during the course of the week. And it's the weekend. Take care. Do something nice for yourself and someone else. Be well. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.